Hey everyone, this is a video going over the rhythms from The Entertainer. What you're looking at in front of you is I've taken all the rhythms from the 4 lines on the music that I gave you, and I took all the notes away so it's just one note, a little easier to look at, and I put some rhythm counts underneath some of the more complicated lines. There's a lot of repeated rhythms in this one, so a lot of what I go over in this first line is applicable to the other spots. That's why you only see some rhythm counts. But we're just going to start right at the top here. So you see that we come in on beat 4. We've got 3 measures of rest, and we come in on beat 4. We play and of 4. And then this second measure is where it gets a little bit tricky. You can see that we play on beat 1, but then on the and of beat 1 there's a quarter note. And a quarter note can have 2/8 notes inside it, so it gets the and of 1 and beat 2. And then you don't play again until the and of beat 2. We have a quarter note on 3, and then we have 8th notes on 4 and the and of 4, and that's tied over to this half note, which means once you get to the end of 4, you hold it all the way through beats 1 and 2. So that first line would sound like 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Or if you want to hear it with actual notes, I've also written it out in MuseScore so you can listen. 1, 2, 3. Or with the actual notes, 1, 2, 3. So you kind of get this interesting 1 and 3, 4 and. It's kind of syncopated and it sounds a little bit funky. But then the next measure, we have and 4 and. You come in after beat 3. So after you tie that note, you got to wait 1 and 2 and 3 and. You're in on the and of 3. And 4 and 1 and 2 and 4. So notice, and of 2 is tied to the downbeat of 3. So you're playing 1 and 2 and 4. Instead of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, it's just got that tie in it. So let's listen to what that sounds like real quick. So here's with just the rhythm. So you have and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4. And let's hear it from that downbeat. 1, 2, 3. And notice that next line just has a half note there. So second line, let's look at that. The first and the second measure in the second line are the same as the top one. So it's that little syncopated riff. So it should sound exactly the same as what we remember. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so it sounds exactly the same. And in the music, it's written exactly the same. 1, 2, 3. So that first part and that second part are the same. Let's hear that middle rhythm once. So I'm going to start from the beginning, and you can hear how all of what we've gone through together so far fits together. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So you'll notice that next line, I wrote that one out. The only difference here in the end of the second line as opposed to the end of the first line is that the end of the second line has right on beat 4 is the entrance instead of the and of 3. And you've got 8th notes all the way through that last measure. So instead of the top line, which is and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4, you have 1, 2, 3. 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and. There's that extra 8th note at the end there. So don't let that trip you up. Let me play that one more time. So 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and 1. So then the third line, if we look, the third line is actually exactly the same as the first line. And if you go over to the music and we look at the actual notes, that first line of notes is the same as that next line of notes. I think my my music looks a little bit different than yours does. I might have put the breaks in the wrong place. But it looks and sounds exactly the same. Here's the first line, 2, 3. 2, 3. And then here's the third line, 1, 2, 3. Exactly the same, 3. So you notice that first line, that third line are the same. That middle line's very, very similar. You just have to watch those eighth notes. And then the final line, if we look down at the bottom here, I've marked out that rhythm. It happens 1, 2, 3 times in a row, but on the third time you end with a quarter note. But every other time you have 1 and 2 and 4 and. You play every eighth note except for beat 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And so you play that rhythm once, you play it twice, and then you play it a third time just without that final eighth note. So if we listen to that just with one note at a time, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 4, 1. So you notice it's just eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 4 and, but you have that tie in there, so just don't change your bow on the tie. Let's hear that one more time. And then with the actual music, we'll listen to it. 1, 2, 3. So last thing I'm going to do, I'll just play it all the way through so you can hear what it should sound like with all of the rhythms. If you want to take this opportunity to try a play along, feel free. But here we go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 3, 4 and 2, 3. 4 and 1, 2, 3. And those are the rhythms in the Entertainer. Let me know if you still have questions about this. It was kind of a different video format. I'm trying out my screen recording instead of an actual recording. So hopefully it made sense. If you have any questions, again, comment on Classroom, send me an email, send me a message, do something, put it in the comments. And then there will be a video with notes coming soon. Awesome. I will see you guys later.